Hey guys, what's going on? It's Obezgaming, back again with another video. And this week we're going to be discussing whether 4-2-3-1 is still the most meta formation and tactic to use in FIFA 21. We'll run through the tactics that I used in Weekend League and then compare them to other formations that I've used on the channel. So, taking a look at my custom tactics. As I said, it is 4-2-3-1 that we'll be taking a look at, and it's important that it is 4-2-3-1-1. So the defensive style we use is balanced. I think it covers all areas of the pitch without leaving you too exposed. 8 width and 8 depth. I know that can seem sort of quite scary to some people, but I promise with these tactics, as long as you've got the right players in the right areas, it won't leave you too prone to a counter-attack. Offensive style long ball, that just allows you to get the ball up quickly, get your strikers in behind and hit people fast on the break. We use 7 width and 7 players in the box for attacking. 7 width is just so when we lose the ball we're not, all over the place. And I do like to get my midfield forward, so that is why 7 players in the box. Corners and free kicks are pretty much personal preference. I go for 3 out of 5. In terms of the personnel you want to use in this formation, especially with the CDMs, I'd recommend having one that's more defensive and one that's more box-to-box. So in this situation, I use Renato Sanchez as my more defensive one, and then Bruno can get up and down. In terms of the cam and the striker, I think it's really important to have a partnership style going on, as the cam in this formation is almost like a second striker. So I like to use Dybala and Ronaldo as that sort of little and large combo. Ronaldo can receive the ball, hold it up, flick it through to Dybala, who's got the pace to get in behind and score. I score most of my goals with my cams. In terms of the wide players, I like to use inverted wingers, so I have Okocha and Robben to be able to cut inside and hit those finesse shots across goal. I think that's a really useful tactic and it doesn't leave you too stretched. In terms of player instructions, starting with the keeper, we have comes for cross and sweeper keeper. Use that on everything, just makes the keepers feel a lot more responsive and faster to come out to the ball. Fullbacks, stay back while attacking and overlap. I know those sort of contradict each other, but it just means that when they do decide to attack, they're coming out the outside and don't leave you too exposed when you do lose the ball. Centre backs are just on the standard stay back while attacking and normal interceptions. Don't mess about with them. You just want them to do their job, stay back and always be there. On your more defensive of the CDMs, you need to have stay back while attacking to anchor him back, and also cover centre. Cover centre is really important so that they don't get dragged out and leave a big hole in the middle of the pitch. Other than that, the interceptions I like to leave on normal so they don't get dragged out. On your more attacking of the two CDMs, you're sort of box to box. Still on cover centre, but balanced on everything else. So he will act as a box to box, get up and down, but always stay central. For my wide players, I like to have them on comeback on defence, and otherwise just have them all on the balanced tactics. The reason for that is just to give the fullbacks a little bit more cover if they do decide to come up, and it also means that they are there if you do lose the ball. In terms of support on crosses, it's down to you. I like to have them on balance, but if you do want them getting into the box, I wouldn't be against that. In terms of the number 10 position now, Dybala, I have him on stay forward, and that really creates a sort of 2 up front scenario. Means there's always multiple out balls when you do win the ball back, and especially with those 2 wingers on come back on defence, it means you do want to have a couple of players up the pitch, and it means that you're not just playing it up to your big striker and expecting him to do everything by himself. My main striker is always on get on behind and stay forward, because again, I don't want him tracking back and not having an option to as an out ball, and getting behind for obvious reasons to stretch the pitch and try and get in behind and get those goals. So yeah, jumping in some gameplay now. Let's talk about the positives and negatives of this formation. So starting off with the things that I really did like about it is that, yeah, it is probably the most balanced formation in the game. I never feel like I'm overexposed in any sense, whether that's attacking or defending. Going forward, losing the ball, you've always got the back 4 and at least one of the 2 CDMs, often 2, covering. So you're never that prone to the counter-attack, even on 8 depth and 8 width. And likewise, while defending and you win the ball back, you've always got at least those 2 players, often 4 with the 2 wingers, offering an out ball, and you can hit them on the break nice and quickly. I actually had a lot of messages across the weekend asking for my tactics because I was hitting people on the break so quickly. That does obviously come down to the players you use as well. You do need a lot of pace sort of in the front areas, but this formation really lends itself to being able to do that. Another thing I really liked is, in a defensive sense, this formation isn't too draining on stamina, but at the same time you feel like you're covering a lot of ground with your team. The wingers seem to get up and down a lot without it draining too much stamina. I don't ever feel like my fullback's been left to defend by himself, and I also never feel like my strikers are left too isolated. So that's definitely a positive of this. The team moves as a unit and in attack and defense, and that just means that you can play with a bit more confidence and not worry about losing the ball and getting hit on the break, which I really did like. I mean, 4-2-3-1 has been considered one of the most meta formations for pretty much the entirety of the game, and not just on FIFA 21, and there is a reason for that. I think it really lends itself to being a good option to both sort of newer or casual players, as well as people who play the game really seriously and, you know, want to be hitting elite every weekend. It's certainly what I describe as a safe formation, and it gives you a lot of cover in all areas. But that being said, it being a safe formation is probably my biggest negative with it. Especially, you know, when you're comparing it to the 3-4-2-1 formation I covered in a previous video, which I'll link above. It's not as enjoyable to use. You don't really have the opportunity to absolutely batter people, I feel like you could with formations like that. And again, it does feel like you're playing with the safety on a little bit. But I mean, the thing I would definitely say is if you're going through a rough patch of FIFA, if you're not really sure what you want in your team, or you've been struggling for quite some while and you just want that stability and reset on your team, which I've definitely experienced at times in this game, it is an absolute great formation to go into, just settle, and it really allows you to see where the strong and weak parts are within your team. It highlights players quite well. So it's a really good sort of formation to go back to and think, right, who am I enjoying using in this team? Where are the weak links? Where do I want to go in the future with this team? Do I want to stay with this formation and go for something a bit more adventurous and a bit more fun? But it definitely allows you to see those things. As I've said, there's not really any sort of glaring negatives with the formation. Both defensively and offensively, it offers you everything you'd really hope. But again, I don't really think it's the sort of formation that's going to turn an average player into a fantastic player. It might improve you by sort of 5-10%, but it's not going to change or revolutionise the way you play like some of the other formations can. You know, I was speaking to people and seeing people using that 3-4-2-1, going from sort of gold 3 to pushing for elite. With this, you might go from gold 3 to gold 2, gold 1 maybe, but it's not going to absolutely change everything. What it will do is, as I said, solidify you and make you understand your team, where you're at as a player, and it's definitely defensively solid. So if you're conceding too many and you just want to settle the ship a little bit, go into this formation for sure. But yeah, I mean, to answer the question of the title of this video, yes, it is still meta, yes, it still works even after the patches. Is it the most fun formation? Absolutely not. Is it going to massively change the way you play? Absolutely not. But if you need something that's steady, reliable, easy to use, and pretty natural to defend and attack in, or give you options, then this is perfect for that. But you know, you're not going to be uprooting any trees with this, that's for sure. And on that note, that brings me to the end of the video, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it was helpful. If it did help you, please leave a like and subscribe, it'd be massively appreciated. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.